Greetings folks and welcome to another episode of 81632-bit. As you've no doubt guessed by now, we've reached that time of the year. The full moon. The haunting noises. The pumpkin spice lattes from Starbucks. Yes, it's Halloween season once more, and time for me to look at some wonderfully spooky games here on the channel. And today I'm kicking off with something which not many people may be aware of or have played, and that is Scooby Doo by Sunsoft for the Sega Mega Drive, or rather Sega Genesis, as this title was only ever released in the United States. Now, just as a point of clarification here, there was another Scooby Doo game from Sunsoft that was published in the US for the Super Nintendo, but that game is completely different to this one, as we shall see. Anyway, here's Scooby Doo for the Genesis. So here we go, there's a nice little rendition of the Scooby Doo theme music there, and as you can see you've got two scenarios to play here, and again, nice little rendition of the Scooby Doo incidental music and a little bit of animation here. Now, what we'll get in a second is we'll get a little bit of an animated cutscene, which does look really rather nice, and again it plays out very much in the style of the actual original cartoon series, with the various members of the Scooby Gang sat there in the van. You've got Shaggy and Scooby in the back, Velma, Daphne and Fred in the front, talking about how they're headed off for this wonderful winter skiing holiday. But of course it's Scooby Doo, so everything will go wrong. Now, here we go, I've cut to the game here, and as you can see, what we have here on the Scooby Doo game for the Genesis is something very much like the Maniac Mansion Day of the Tentacle style graphical adventure, which was something you didn't really see a huge amount of on the consoles at the time. In fact, I can't really think of another game of this style. However, Sunsoft and the development studio they chose, Illusions, have done a really good job here, I think. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, you have all the different options for Shaggy to undertake with the locations around him, and you can alternate between those and the inventory by pressing the C button. Now, Scooby will wander around and sort of indicate areas of interest and parts of the room that maybe you need to investigate as you go along. But yeah, it is very much a Day of the Tentacle, Maniac Mansion, LucasArts style adventure. There's some great stuff in here, and I think when you look at it, it was something different. Not surprising though it wasn't a huge hit, as console gamers tended to favour something more action based. Anyway, as you can see, the game actually looks pretty good, and again, it really sort of apes the look of the late 60s, early 70s Scooby Doo cartoons really well, in my opinion. And I think the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis's somewhat limited colour palette actually assists here, because it helps keep that very flat, cell shaded look that the Scooby Doo cartoons had. As you can see, I'm just trying to remember how to use the inventory system at the bottom of the screen here. It took me a minute to figure it out, because it had been a while since I'd played it. But anyway, as you can see, you know, Scooby's indicating that shovel there in the snowman is important. He's also sniffing around the shed, because again, that's an important part of the game. You need to see what's going on, and Scooby just provides a little bit of a hint system without being an overt hint system. As I said, the Super Nintendo version of this game is very different. It has more traditional platformy emphasis, although there is some sort of adventuring elements. I will cover the Super Nintendo version at some point in the future. As you can see, I'm just having a good little look round here in these first few locations. There's plenty of things to look at which you can sort of get indicated. Just demonstrate how to use an item in a moment, after I've had another look. Incidentally, gotta wonder why Shaggy's wandering around in the freezing cold in just his flared trousers and green short sleeve t-shirt, and doesn't appear to be bothered by the cold 1 bit. That's probably all those special cigarettes that he would be rumoured to be smoking in the back of the mystery machine, hence a talking dog. Of course, it could all just be innocent, it's just a children's cartoon, nothing to see here. As you can see, you can pick to use the items. Now, I've got to say, I actually really like the animation in this game as well. Whilst it isn't super silky smooth, again, if you've watched the original Scooby Doo cartoons, the animation was done on a very limited basis. I believe it was 15 frames a second was the standard for Hanna-Barbera's televisual animations, and that gave everything a bit of a slightly stilted quality to it, which again, the game apes perfectly. This is just like looking at an episode of Scooby Doo that you are in charge of. And maybe it's an element of gameplay that could have been carried on into later Scooby Doo titles, who all sort of tried to follow the Mario 64 mould after this. But I digress. There's a bit of silly humour there, Shaggy referring to a pair of scissors for cutting things like pizza, because hey, that's what Shaggy does. He eats a lot, and that's cool. It's Shaggy. Anyway, as you can see, I'm having a good look around here, and there isn't really a huge amount more to say. This game really does handle the whole Scooby-Doo thing really well. The adventure game format suits Scooby-Doo down to the ground. Now, it's not easy to get hold of this as a physical cartridge. As I said, it was only released in the United States. However, like most games, it's very easy to play on emulation, which is what I've done here, as you can see. And I recommend giving it a try, especially if you enjoy games like Day of the Tentacle. So there you go, folks. That was Scooby Doo for the Sega Genesis. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, maybe even leave me a comment. And of course, if you really enjoyed it, go look at some of my other videos and maybe even subscribe to the channel. As always, this is your host Rob for 81632bit saying so long, and I'll see you next time.